The next part of units in CSS I want to go over are the color units. So again, I'm using the documentation from MDN. I will scroll down on the same page that explains about units. And I can see that when it comes to color units, there are multiple ways for me in CSS to describe what color I want to use. Whether it's for the background or maybe for the text color, I can use both. One way, which is good for prototyping, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, it's good for prototyping, but I won't use it for something in production that I want to ship to other people, is using some color keywords. Those are colors which are pre-built inside the browser. So you can just specify them by name and the browser will understand what is this color and will present it. Of course, you cannot use any color in the world because the browser doesn't have all of the colors pre-built in the browser. But you can use some of them if you just want to experiment with something and want to move on fast. Usually what we're using is describing colors more specifically. One way is using this hexadecimal RGB value, which I'm going to explain what it is. And the other one is using RGB. Both of them give me the same result, only with specifying color in a different way. I will start with RGB because I think it's easier to understand from the first site. So an hexadecimal values are kind of a translation of this RGB value. Let me go over my code and I want to specify some background here. I can use background color or background. In this case, it doesn't really matter. Let me be more specific and use just background. And I will use RGB. And RGB stands for red, green, and blue. And this is some kind of a CSS function that accepts three values. So the first value is how much red do I want to have. The second one is how much green do I want to have. And the third one is how much blue I want to have. And the values are between 0, which is nothing, to 2055, which is everything. So let me start with the color blue. So I want to specify just blue using this function. So I don't want to have any red, so I would use just 0. I don't want to have any green, and I want to have all the blue that is possible, okay? So it tells me, you can see now this is in VS Code, it tells me that the color is blue. It kind of calculates the color and displays it. But if I go to my website, you see that the color here is blue. Now, if I want to have just red, I can go back. I don't want to have any blue. So between 0 to 2055, I want to have 0. I don't want to have any green, and I want to have red. I go over here, and now I have red. Okay, it auto refreshes, and I get this red. Let's assume I want the combination of the three. Maybe I want a little bit red, and a little bit of green, and a lot of blue. Let's even add more than that. Oh, it still looks like blue. Let me try to play with it a little bit. Let's add a little bit more green here. So I can get this type of blue by playing with the values that I can have inside my RGB. Now, instead of just playing with the numbers and seeing what number you want to use, you can always go here to the developer tools in Chrome and click the color that is calculated. So Chrome kind of tells you what is the color that is the output of those three values. And by clicking it, you can play with the colors. So let's assume I want to have some green from here. I want it to be a little bit darker, so I can move it here. And what you can see that Chrome calculates the color and translates it into RGB. So I can just take those values, paste them here. Oh, it doesn't use commas, but I will use commas because I think it's easier to read with commas. And there you go, there I have it. So I don't think it's very easy to just spit out the numbers to get the color that you want. Usually it's easier to just use a color picker and then take the values that Chrome gives you. Now, the second part that I can represent colors is using hexadecimal value. If I go over here, I'll just click it twice. You see that Chrome outputs the value in this format. Now, it's the same thing, it's the same color, so you can represent color in two different ways, and both of them are the same. And what is this hexadecimal value? It's the same like RGB. So the two first characters are the red value. The The 2 seconds are the green value, and the 2/3 are the blue value. And all of them are ranging between 0 and 2055, but we're not specifying 2055, but we're specifying FF. FF, in this case, stands for 2055. The reason is it's some kind of other type of counting, which is hexadecimal counting. So instead of having numbers between 0 and 9, we have not really numbers, but digits between 0 and F. So we can represent large numbers with less characters, like we do with just decimal numbers. So this is the idea of the hexadecimal. And again, you don't really have to guess by yourself what is the color you want to have using just those numbers. Just use the color picker, okay? Choose whatever color you want and pick its value. Copy paste that, put it here. And again, hexadecimal values should start with a hashtag. If it's not starting with within hashtag, the browser won't understand what is this value. So you have to start with a hashtag. And there you go. I have this color here. So 2 different ways of telling the browser exactly the same thing. Okay. Most people I see that like to use hexadecimal because I think it looks shorter. So people like shorter things in their code. But again, do whatever you feel comfortable.